All right, so welcome to the first inaugural Protect the Nest podcast, episode 1, Family Ties. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm here with my colleagues. I'm Taiwan Austin. We got
I'm Santiago. I'm Princesa Santiago.
uh-huh.
My name is Bobby Sherrod, band director at Neal.
Yes, sir. And we here with the legendary Durham
Oh, you
Noah.
said low, legendary.
Legendary. The whole board Noah, from a teacher, coach, administrator, entrepreneur. He do it all, man. We here with the honorary Joseph Biggs, Mr. Biggs, I'm knowing him as.
Yo, man, you said a whole lot of stuff, bro. You gonna make my head swell up.
Hey, man, you already know what's up, man. We going
How's
big.
everybody doing? Y'all good?
Everybody
Awesome.
doing good.
Great, man. It's great.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So it's the first podcast, man, and I think you're doing something big, and I'm honored to be a part of it. I know my colleagues are as well. And so we're just gonna tag into it, man. Protecting Nest podcast, one is a powerful thing. To say protect the nest means a lot. You as the visionary of Protect the Nest podcast, what did it mean when you came up with that the name for it?
Well, Protect the Nest is something we've been saying around Neal for a while. We look at our school as a family. And so we are the Eagles, Neal Middle School Eagles. See, I got all my Eagle gear on. We are the Eagles, so we use the analogies of the birds. You know, they're in a nest. That's our school. That's our home. That's our nest. Right. The young birds are our students. The bigger birds, that's us. That's the administration and the teachers, all the adults in the building. And if you ever notice, when birds take care of their own, they show them how to fly. You know, and they give them the tools they need, and eventually they kick them out because we know that you can soar. You just got to open your wings and do that. So I see us as adults, administrators, and teachers. We're giving the kids the tools they need, and definitely when they leave us in 8th grade, we're launching them. Hopefully the things we give them, they're used throughout life. They'll remember, you know, whether it be academic or just life type skills. So protecting the nest means protecting our school, protecting our image, protecting our students, protecting our faculty and staff, coming together as a family, taking care of one another, and not letting anything harm that.
Right. And it's crazy that you said it like that too, because as my colleagues know, man, like I was a kid that went to Neal, you know, and so living that out, you know, I see it right now. You know, I had you as a teacher, you was my social studies teacher, you know what I'm saying? So like it was crazy. So now like I see the preparation, I see how like you all try to speak in our lives, you know, from a young age and prepare us for the weird world. You know, nothing was handed. We had to work for a lot of things, you know, but, you know, as I got older and now I'm back working at Neal, it came full circle. I see what you mean, you know, so that's pretty dope. Yes, sir.
Yeah, a lot of times y'all didn't understand what we were doing for you, but we had your best interest at heart.
I mean, it's like a baby bird. The baby bird doesn't know why are they being thrown out. They're scared before they fly.
Exactly. That's how the name came about.
That's cool. So what was the culture of Neal like? Kind of when you first started off, like
well, you know, I kind of fell into education. Education wasn't what I went to school for, and it wasn't what I was doing. I went to school for public administration. When I graduated college, I couldn't find a job in the public administration field. Actually, at that time, that's when they had Desert Storm going on. So we had a little war that was happening, and they weren't really doing a lot of hiring. And every time I would go somewhere, they would always say, you don't have enough experience. And I'm like, well, if you don't give me a job, I can't get experience. So I decided to go back and go to grad school, got my master's in public administration. From there, I started working with GTE Cellular One. So I eventually went into sales. And then from sales, I went into management with Campbell Soup Company. My wife and I got married. I think y'all can see her in the back there. I'm gonna give her shout out. Even
yes, sir.
So we got married. She was here. I wasn't here. I was working with Campbell Soup Company in another town, still in North Carolina. And I decided, look, I bought a house and everything. But I wasn't living in my house. I'm just gonna leave and go back to Durham and be with my wife. I didn't have any job prospects. It was never really hard for me to find jobs. But at that time, I couldn't find a job. You know, the Lord works in mysterious ways. You know, we're not gonna get super religious right now.
Yeah, I feel you.
I'm not trying to impose mine on anyone else. But so I came back, couldn't find a job. I didn't know why. My dad got sick. He got sick and had to be here in Duke. It was a blessing that we already had a home. So when my mom came, she didn't have to stay at a hotel and spend money, anything. She just stayed at my house. My dad was there for over a year. He passed in 2000. In the interim, since I couldn't find a job, I took a teacher assistant position at Shepherd Middle School. So I worked out in the trailer with some kids that had some needs, and I enjoy working with the kids because I worked at daycares and stuff before in New Jersey in the summers, right? So that happened. My dad passed. I went back into corporate America, ended up in sales with MCI WorldCom, and you know that big fiasco was going on. Decided I was going to leave there, but I didn't have anywhere to go. My good friend, Mr. Rod Till, approached me. He's like, "Hey man, I got a school suspension position at my school, and I need somebody that I know can run it the way I need it to be done." And he said, "You don't have to do any lesson plans, anything like that. I know you don't want to do that. I know you don't want to be in education. This is just be something until." Well, I got there and did the in-school suspension position. The ISS is what we called it. And I was good at it. And the kids related to me. They listened to me. And after I was there for about 3 to 4 weeks, ISS was clean. I didn't have people coming, you know. And he's like, "What you doing up there?" I'm like, "Well, you know, I'm talking to them, building relationships." And the kids just, and I was stern and strict too. So that helped a lot. They didn't want to come in there and follow my rules. So that happened. And after that happened, I was like, you know, maybe I get this education thing a try. Because both of my parents were educators. My dad was a principal. My mom was a English teacher and became a librarian. And they always used to say, get your teacher's license, have something to fall back on. But I didn't want to hear that because, you know, I came out of school. When I came out, I was making more money than both of them, not collectively, but individually. So I went back to school to get my education license. I didn't have to do much because social studies or history was like a second major for me when I was at Central. Took so many history courses because I'm so interested in history. And so that happened. There I wound up in Neal. I taught at Neal for 3. Then I went to Southern High for 8. Then I went to Edgecombe County for 1.5 years. And then I came back to Neal as an administrator. I left Southern to go to Edgecombe as an administrator. Coaching at Neal and teaching at Neal, I loved it, man. I loved it. I wouldn't change it for the world. I made a lot of good relationships with the students at the time that, as you can see, you know, like you and I still have relationships now. You know, y'all came in as 11-year-olds and now y'all all 30 plus with your own kids and families and things like that. I'm proud, man. Hopefully I touch some lives in a positive manner, help some people change their course. I can think of a lot of them that I did help change their course. Yeah. Hey, you know, I couldn't be proud of that. So the money may not be there, the self-satisfaction and knowing you help somebody, that's a reward. But North Carolina needs to up the salaries for all educators. I'm gonna make a stamp for that right now. Okay.
Right.
Do a lot of work.
And we're not gonna pass up on that.
Eagle everything, man. I'm eagle everything.
Right, but we ain't gonna pass up on that. We ain't gonna pass up on that sports talk because listen, when you had that football team at Neal, it was kind of different. Moms ain't even want me to play. You know what I'm saying?
The football team back then, it was rough. It was rough. We got down and dirty. Now we you know, when I first got there, we weren't winning a lot of games, but Darren Harris, Coach Harris, who is still in DPS now, he's helped out at Hillside. He has a CTE, higher CTE position downtown now. Great guy. We did a lot of stuff, and he was an air raid. So we were really the guys that started passing in middle school before everybody else was passing. We saw kids in wrong positions, moved them around. Like Elijah Sessom was the quarterback, but everybody knows him now as a wide out. Yeah. You know, so, and that's where he was best at. Yeah. So we saw where kids had talents and they were out of position. We put them, he stopped playing football after middle school, but he would have been one of the best in Durham. Levante Leak, man. Hey, we had him I see them carrying 4 or 5 guys into the end zone, man. So we recognize talent, put people in place. I was a defensive coordinator, and it was middle school ball, so I know kids couldn't handle it. So I developed a rush, and we're gonna rush just about, I don't know, 40, 50 times a game. We're gonna bring that blitz. We're gonna put that pressure on you, whether you're running it or not. Just because they couldn't handle it, they would get rattled, and then we're gonna throw the ball. And that defenses weren't prepared for that. They were prepared for the run. Back then, it was just run game. So it was cool, man.
Yeah, fun times, man.
Yeah. Desmond Scott stopped us a lot. I got to give a shout out to Des. He's over there shutting us down, being all fast and whatnot, hitting all hard like he was a grown man, but it was cool.
And he should have been at Neal, but we ain't even going to discuss that.
We're not even going to go that route. He took that IB route.
Yeah, right.
Hey, you said shout outs. We definitely want to give shout outs to the teachers and the staff that's logging in.
Yeah.
Shout out to the students that's subscribing. Hit that subscribe button, pass it along, make sure people subscribe.
Yes.
If you have a question, drop it in the comments. If you have a question for any of the panel, Mr. Biggs specifically, put it in the comments so we can get that question answered. My question for Mr. Biggs is, as a teacher, this is my 11th year teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Unofficially, been inside the classroom since 1989, clinician and all. I could say that Neal has one of the strongest administrative teams that I've come in contact with.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and that's real talk. That ain't me trying to get some extra dollars. That's like, well, I mean, if you want to, but I mean that's real talk right there. But I want to know from you, like, what are some of your best moments at Neal? Whether it be funny, whether it be traumatic, like what are some of the things when you think about Neal, what comes to your mind?
Well, since this is my second tour with Neal, I have a whole lot of memories at Neal. I give you some of the ones from the past, and then we'll talk about some of the ones that's been recent, this second tour duty. In the past, Taiwan's class, all of those dudes were just funny to me, man. They were all trying to find their way, trying to be cool, trying to talk to the girls. They weren't really gangsters, but they kind of tried to want to be a little bit. I had a lot of good times building a relationship with them, both the guys and the girls back then. All the girls looked at me like a big uncle. I was very protective of them and, wouldn't let things come to them. I always told my young men, you're not going to disrespect my young ladies. You're not going to call them out of their name. You're not going to do any of that type of stuff. I'm not going to have it. But I also told the girls, token, you need to carry yourself in a manner where they don't feel like they have the right or the ability to do you that way. And you're going to respect them as young men. You got to understand, they're going to mess up because they're trying to find their way. They're not going to be straight till they're at least 29 or dating and all that kind of stuff. They're not going to be that, So, and I mean, that's just a fact. You know how we are as men. We're not going to be They kind of got that and they appreciated that. I like going to work every day. It's something new in a school building. It's something new and it's something different every day. I think one of my highlights and great points the second tour duty is when we exceeded growth. I like that. I got to give a shout out to Mr. Covington, Terrence Covington. I think another highlight during this time frame was, Mr. Covington has such a creative mind and can look at situations and problems and come with solutions very quickly. So, we struggled with our discipline for a minute. And it's not that we weren't doing what we needed to do discipline-wise, but he had a great idea and he plugged in the, and this is just one of his ideas. I just think this was fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It's more than this. I don't want to just make him the gender guy for that because it's too much stuff. He got a long list of stuff, but that was amazing when he took the 7th and 8th grade and made the all boys team, all girls team, mixed gender team, and boys team with male teachers, girl team with female teachers, and so I think that was incredible. Mr. Fuga, I've known Fuga for a long time. We have a decent relationship, a very good relationship. He actually, when I left Neal to go to Southern, he came in as a social studies teacher. I just left as a 7th grade social studies teacher. And then while I was at Southern and he was at Neal that first year, he started coaching basketball at Southern. So I would see him in the gym. Then a few years later, he came and he did his administrative internship at Southern. The next year, I did my administrative internship at Southern, but he was an AP. And then he became the AP over the history department, and I was in the history department. Then I left to go to Edgecombe by that time, he was already in his second year, I believe, at Rogers Her, and my son came to Rogers Her and was one of his students for the time that he was there at Rogers Her. And then I came back to Neal, and the very next semester, he came to Neal as the principal. So we got ties. We've been together for a long time, connected for a while.
Yes, sir.
That's so nice.
I got to give a shout out to Miss Tiffany Scott. She was an addition this year. She's doing a wonderful job. You know, it's a hard time to switch schools. She comes from Enloe and Raleigh, came over to Neal, and it's all virtual. But you know, she's come in. She's starting to make her presence felt, bringing her unique talents to the table to enhance our administrative team. And I'm not, you know, if we're going to talk administration, we got to go all the way back, and I got to come all the way back up. We had Miss Fran Gant with us when I first started. I look up to Fran a lot. I actually look to her as a mentor. She's a friend, but I look to her as a mentor. She's, you know, when you talk about curriculum and just knowing education, you can't get any better than her. You know, Hugo is the data guy. He knows all the data. Matt Hickson was there with us. Matt, intelligent guy, super intelligent. And technology-wise, knowing that technology and being able to bring different stuff, you can't beat that. And like I said, now we have Miss Scott there. We have Miss Tanika Hanna as an intern. She's straightforward. She shoots it straight. She holds it down. She knows what she's doing. We had Miss Simone Brackett last year. She was the one with the social emotional piece. She knew how to do that. So all of these people that I've been around, I take something from them and put it into my toolbox, and I do what I do. So I've been lucky to be around a lot of great people. Like I said before, Rod Till, watching him as an example, as a principal, you can't beat it. Ken Barnes, you can't beat it. They've been stellar principals and educators in DPS for years. You can't beat that, you know? So.
Yeah, shout out Rod Till. He kept me out of trouble.
I also got to give a shout out to Myron Wilson. He used to be the principal at Neal. I worked with him for 1 year. That's my fraternity brother as well. I knew Myron even before he came to Neal. Great guy. He did some things to try to work Neal around and get him to a better position. He actually, after we left, he instituted uniforms, which was at that time kind of needed, and it helped out a lot, you know.
Wow.
Hey.
Neal has come a long way. When I first came there, you know, they still try to make us the black eye of the district. They're just gonna be honest with it.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's the district themselves. I'm talking about Durham.
The community. Yeah.
A lot of people, you know, our kids come from some special situations, but people always forget even though their situations are special, and they be exposed to some things that even grown-ups shouldn't be exposed to or shouldn't see. They're kids, man. And when you get down to the bottom of it, they're kids. And kids are the same across the board. They just have different backgrounds, different socioeconomic situations, different ethnicities, and different home situations, but it's still a kid. And if you can tap into that kid and understand, you know, they're gonna say some crazy stuff. They're gonna do some crazy stuff. They're gonna make some mistakes. But if we can walk as examples and meet them where they are, we'll be fine. So Neal has really gone through a transformation, you know, starting with Till, adding his flavor to Neal and doing some things, and then it kind of hanging and staying. Then Myron came, he did his thing and elevated a little bit and hanging and staying. And then Jill came and had it for a number of times and it kind of was staying. And then, you know, we had the interim. We had Mr. O'Neill come, Mr. Key, Jim Key, who's both of those are legends in Durham. We talk about education and administration, and they both know what they're doing. So I was just a sponge trying to absorb everything that they were saying and doing, how they would move, how they would interact. You know, had long conversations with both of them, and they came in and stabilized some things, have put some things in place, because in order to get a school to do right, you got to have some processes and procedures. And you're going to have to, your discipline numbers, to me personally, going to probably go up before they come down, because you're going to have to start showing some people that are not going to have some things. Right. So that's what they were doing. And that's what I believed in. And I followed suit with that. And Hugo came and we said, okay, we got this now. Now we got to change the culture. And so we worked on separating the sixth graders from the seventh and eighth graders, which we'll call our upperclassmen, showing them how to operate and how we want them to be. They don't know anything different. They're going to eventually be our eighth graders leading the new people coming in. We're gonna work these 7th and 8th graders to death, and eventually things started to change. So I'm pretty proud of what we've done there, man. You know, people may not see it because a lot of people don't come out that far. They may not hear it, but I'm proud of what we've done, and I'm proud of what's going to continue to happen in Neal, whether we're there or not. I think we laid a great foundation.
Right. Yeah. And people are going to hear about it because of the platform.
Now we got the podcast, so maybe they'll hear about it.
Right. They got to. That, I do have a question. It's more related, like about the students. Not the students, like the whole community in general, the Neal community, because this podcast is trying to show the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. We want to make people grow because you can't grow without making mistakes. You can't grow without having a past. So I want to know, what are main differences between Neal today and Neal before? Past Neal?
Yeah.
Neal.
I always give Neal 3 stages, and that's the 3 stages that I've been involved with. When I was there as a teacher, when I first came back as an AP, and today, even being virtual. When I first came to Neal, it was somewhat off the chain. You had a little gang activity happening, things that a lot of kids who were disrespectful. And I will say though, the difference between the kids then and the kids now, those kids were what they said they were. But even with that, they would take the time to somewhat listen, try to clean up from time to time. But the ones that were the knuckleheads were going to be the knuckleheads. Now we got everybody wanting to be the knucklehead, and that's not even who they are. Not the household they're coming from. Music and whatever else has got them thinking they got to be thugged out. They got to be this and that. And I always try to tell them, it's cool to be the thug in the hall right now, but when it happens outside and it gets real, that's when we find out who's who. Back then, we had some real. We had some real.
Yo.
Now we don't. The kids now just, I don't know. Rap music, I'm a product of rap music. My age group created rap music, so I understand it. I understand what it's about. I don't like a lot of the music that's happening now. Some of the songs I like, I listen to them, I understand, but they got this whole situation twisted. It's backwards. They're not understanding a lot. They thinking I'm gonna be a thug and I'm gonna just be out here and I'm gonna be rich. It's not how the world works. It doesn't work that way. And they feel privileged, like somebody's got to give them something, somebody owes them something. That's not it either,
Now I'm gonna say this just because I know I lived in that moment. One thing I can kind of piggyback on is like back in the day, even though we had the gangs and stuff like that, like we did care about education as well. Like we did give effort. Like a lot of people, even the thugs, like they gave effort, like they tried. You know what I'm saying? But also, it's a lot of stuff now that kids don't think cool that we thought was cool. So like even like the band program and stuff, like you had some thugs that was in the band just because they like to play drums
and could play too.
And it was amazing, you know what I'm saying? But now it's like, oh, it's whack. Like, don't nobody want to be in band. Like,
hey.
But that's how it was, though. I mean, that's how it is, But
well, now
we want to make it cool again.
I say, Bobby, Mr. Sherrod. I don't know. If it's just a podcast. Are we supposed to use school name or our personal name? I mean, my personal name is already up there, so you got Mr. Sherrod, Mr. Santiago. I got Joe Biggs. I don't know. But the band program was something at Neal, and I think this is just across all schools throughout the United States. Kids are just, they like the arts and they love music and stuff, but everybody wants to pose in such a situation that I'm hard. That ain't cool. That's not what I do. Because I can remember times, dumbing myself down in class so people wouldn't know, how intelligent, because you feel like it's not cool. So I get it, especially at this age, because everybody wants to be popular, wants to be known. I get it, but they don't understand that being culturally aware. And when I say that, I'm talking about all cultures and being exposed to the arts and doing your schoolwork. That's what's cool, and that's really what's cool. You know, it's and they listen to a lot of rappers, but they don't ever go into their history. You know, you talk about 2 Chainz, finished college in 3 years, 4.0.
Right.
You talk about Lil Wayne, yeah, he on everything that you can take, but he was AIG and graduated high school early, and went to the University of Houston. You know, you look at Meg Thee Stallion, yeah, she busting it and popping, but
she in school now.
In school. I will tell you, I'm not quitting school. I'm gonna and then I'm gonna take my degree and I'm gonna open up these healthcare facilities, and I'm connecting with people that's in school with me, networking. They don't see Puff Diddy. He was at Howard. You know, that's where you gotta start. They're not seeing these things. They don't understand. You know, Tupac, yeah, he was rebellious, but he was extremely intelligent. Listen to the words, listen to how I speak. If you ever hear Plies, oh Plies, baby, listen to Plies speak. Plies finished college. I mean, you know, a large portion of this is who they are. They're not giving you somebody that's fake. 2 Chainz did hustle. He did sell drugs and stuff, but he also saw there was something else that he needed to do and take care of. You know, Jay-Z didn't finish high school, but the vocabulary, he's highly intelligent. He probably got bored in the school. That's why one reason he left, they couldn't feed him. His English teacher said that he was too advanced. So the kids got to realize that, hey, it's cool. You can do some of this other stuff, but you can still be great. Yeah, like Kendrick Lamar. Somebody say Kendrick.
Yep.
Great example.
It's just that the majority, if you think about it, the majority, it's just that in order for you to be like a celebrity of that magnitude and someone that can express your feelings in your life through music, you have to be super smart. You have to be very intelligent, and you have to know how to use words. Something that you can learn in school, you know. But still.
I mean, if you want to be a rapper, the best thing to do is stay in school and go to English class.
Yes. Yes.
Read the literature. Read the assigned literature.
As an English ESL student, ESL teacher student, yes.
Yeah, when you're a rapper, you need, and see, not the rap that they're doing, because a lot of it doesn't make sense. They just putting some words together and just saying something repeatedly. But when you're really an MC, really a rapper, you're absorbing TV, movies, news, and recent events. You're absorbing. You're reading The Killer Mockingbird, so that you can make analogies and similes and metaphors, and you know those terminologies. You know sentence structure, and okay, I'm gonna make this line rhyme with this line, then this whole line is gonna rhyme. Then I'm just coming up with different patterns.
And the most difficult thing is expressing your feelings and your thoughts, like literally what you want to show, your feelings, what you're thinking in your brain through your
lips. You're doing it within.
Yeah, because and then going back to band,
a hook, 16 bars, a hook. And that might be it. You might get another 16, and then the song is over. It's all within 3 minutes.
And going back to band, sometimes the beat is something that you need to learn. That's something that you learn in band class. That's something that you learn.
You know, a lot of your best producers were in the band. Right. Knife Wonder was in the band. You know, when you talk about Dallas Austin, that started that whole movement down in Atlanta. He was a drum major. You know. A lot of your DJs out of Durham, DJ Nabs. Drum major at Durham High. He and his sister. The only time they had a sister brother drum major thing here in Durham, you know, leading the band, Durham High, back in the day. So
and it gives them a sense of belonging, like which is like our job is trying to place the kids, put them somewhere where they feel they belong.
Yeah,
and that's how they're successful at school, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, whether it's being on the podcast, whether it's being in band. It's our job to guide them. We're protecting this nest. It's our job to make sure before we kick them out the nest that you're ready to fly.
Well, that's where you see kids falling into different groups. That's why you see them joining gangs and stuff. They want to belong to something. They want to be a part of something. It's important. You know, and then you know, like when we came to school, you get your savings, you got the potheads, you got the jocks, you got the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and everybody just want to belong to a group, you know. One thing I did over at Southern is we started the high school fraternities and sororities. We use that term loosely because they're not incorporated, they're not anything. They just gave them some Greek letters, gave a name, created the structure for them. And I've touched a lot of young men um, through that Kyle made a Lambda. We're at Hillside now. It's no longer Southern. I hope to bring it back. So, Mr. Leathers, if you're listening, well, let's get together. I need to bring it back to Southern High School. That's where it started. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
One thing that I love about Neal is that Neal sees students and teachers as humans, like we know what it's like, each person has their story. We all recognize that each student has their story. And I think that's beautiful. That's something that, I think that's the main reason of this podcast, to like show off all those stories, all of these qualities, great qualities that we have, because we're a mixture of stuff. We're like a big melting pot of everything. To put it that
way. Exactly. That's a great way to put it. Way to put it.
And it's crazy because, like, just student teacher perspective now for me, like how Mr. Biz was talking about, being a sponge, even as me as a teacher, I'm always a sponge. I'm watching people. Like sometimes when I'm in the hallway, like, I see them at the desk and I see them, deal with students and stuff like that. So even for teachers, I don't think nobody truly has an ego around Neal. Like we really try to become a family. You know what I'm saying? We try to learn each other. And that's one thing that I love. When you walk in the morning and you see Miss Lauren sitting there, and now, she doing her thing and another, you know what I'm saying? Like it's always elevation, or everybody is elevating within Neal. And even if not, like Mr. Biggs say, like everybody is nurtured to where they could go somewhere else and do something else. But also, take that knowledge that they learn with them,
well, I think as being one of the so-called leaders at Neal, I don't ever like to say throw my positioning around and title and say leader. Right. I think the way I lead is I am a part of. It's going to take us. It's going to take we. Right. Not just me tell you, you do. It takes us. I think we do a very good job of recognizing the talents of the people that are in our building and seeing leadership qualities and giving people the opportunity to lead and do other things. We've had not a high turnover rate at our school. I wouldn't say it was high. It used to be before, but now since we've been there as the admin team, there has been turnover. I'm not going to say it hasn't. And sometimes when people look at the numbers, they might think it's high. But we've had so many teachers leave to go on to be administrators, and that's because they had a desire or we saw something in them and kind of tried to push them in that direction. That hurts us later because they leave and then now we got to fill these spots. But you don't want to hold people back. You want to let people spread their wings and grow. That, like I said, protect the nest. It's a bird. We all got to soar and do our thing. And I think any great leader wants to make great leaders. Mm-hmm. Any great leader wants to be replaced. I might not be here all the time. I want somebody that not necessarily is a copycat of me, but I know they got the talents and the strength and structure to step in right now, and this won't fall apart. Right. Whether it be this school where I am or be the next school that they go to. So leaders need to be looking to make leaders, man.
That's the whole idea. Once you go to Neal, you're just not gonna be the same.
I hope not. And I hope it's in a positive way that you're not.
Like growing way,
I'm hoping everybody leaves us in a better situation than when they came.
Yeah.
I immediately noticed the family atmosphere from like the first staff meeting. And I was like immediate, like, yo, this by far has been the best staff. If this staff is like this during the pandemic, I can't wait for us to get back face to face.
We have a good time, man.
I can't wait to be on the arts hall. I can't wait for the band to play at the basketball game or the football game. I can't wait to turn up at the assembly. But if the staff is this tight and this dope during the pandemic, I love it. I love the fact that Neal has this kind of let's figure out how to do it. Mm-hmm. When the idea of the podcast came up, none of us was like, well, we can't, you know what I'm saying? Never came out of anybody's mouth. Yeah. When Mr. Biz came up, I was like, yo, what's up with the podcast? We was like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. We just figured out how we was going to do it. Nobody was like, oh, no, it's a pandemic. Right. Podcast during a pandemic.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't believe it. I even emailed Biggs through his like DPS account, like, "Hi, I got this email. Is this really you? I think it's a scam. No, it's me from your personal." Oh, cool. Okay, cool. Nice.
Yeah, it was me from my personal email.
Yeah, I was confused.
I dropped the ball on that. That was my fault. I didn't think like I should have thought that. Well, she probably wouldn't recognize this.
No, but it's nice. It's nice. It was. It's like you just said. Like we're always like, what can we do better? Like how can we do this? You know. And at least I'm pretty new to Neal. Let's put it this way. This is my second year, so and I already see all of these things, and I've seen so many teachers right now virtually doing so many amazing stuff.
Yeah.
I see teachers who come up with the greatest things. I've seen teachers who have talked about the way they have organized their classroom, and yeah, it's pretty great.
I just need to let everybody that's listening, especially those that don't work at Neal, Miss Santiago and Mr. Sherrod were not paid to make these comments. Miss Santiago is in her second year, and Mr. Sherrod is in his first year, and he came during the pandemic. So anything he's saying, you know, it's my first time hearing it too. I'm pleased. Say thank you. We work hard to make it sound or be the way that you're making it sound. And you know, I believe it's all genuine. So I appreciate that.
Oh, it's definitely all real from the heart. I appreciate the staff at Neal, administrative staff, the team, giving us the tools to be successful. You know, giving us different angles on how to reach the kids, making us stay sane while we try to do it.
You know, it's always hard daily anyway, but now it's been extra hard because everything is virtual and we're in this pandemic. And I need to give a shout out to our upper administration. Dr. Mabingo and his staff, you know, Dr. Jones, Dr. Hardy, all of those. I think they made some of the right calls throughout the school year. Our school board, because they collaborate with the school board on that, you know, keeping us virtual and trying to keep people safe. That shows they have a heart for people. And that's what we try to do with Neal. Like you said, it's a family and we care about people. And, you know, to put people in certain situations, it can be taken the wrong way. They all got great hearts, and I know it because I've seen it, I see it. But I think had this gone another way, people would have probably been kind of pulling back a little bit. Parents, students, teachers, people would have started trying to retire and stuff, I believe. But that was a big move, especially when we see a lot of people around us in other districts having their people go into work. And we're seeing that the teachers are getting sick. So I applaud them for the call that they made, and I applaud them for their leadership and insight. So shout out to them.
Right. Now more than ever, we got to stay human.
Yeah, got to.
Yeah.
Got to.
All right. And so just to kind of finish things off here, man, I know we was talking about the students earlier, and I know this is a big reason why you want to do it. For the students that would be listening, or the parents or administrators, what is it that you desire for those kids that will be on this podcast, as well as the kids that just tune in? Like, what do you desire to see them, you know, accomplish in their growth or whatever, you know, being involved or not involved, but a part of the community?
Well, I as far as the podcast is concerned, it was something that I had on my mind for about 2 years. And then actually was going to try to pilot it in some form or fashion last school year. We got some podcast equipment at school and some other things, and really figuring out what students would be great to be a part of it, what teachers. Taiwan, you've been a constant with it the entire time.
Yes,
and so the pandemic hit and we didn't get to do anything. It was, like I said, it was an idea I had. I always go to my dude, Mr. Covenant. Like I said, he's creative. And so, hey, how do you think this sounds? And he was on board with it. You know, none of this stuff, whether I come up with it, he comes up with it, Fugal comes up with it, we don't ever do this thing alone. So I can take some credit maybe for the idea, but I can't take credit for it happening. You all made this happen right now. This wasn't me. I wasn't Mr. Big. I had the idea. I came to you with it, what I think it should look like, gave you the reins to run with it and kind of develop it and shape it and mold it. That's up to y'all. So I'm giving y'all some big ups. Give y'all some big ups. But my vision and my thought for it was we live in different times now. Everything is social media, everything is quick and instant. And so as educators, we got to be able to be flexible and move and bend with the times and the things that are taking place. So podcasts are really hot. Yeah, podcasts would be something to get our students involved in, like we were saying before. They might not be interested in band. They might not be interested in football. Maybe they want to be in communications, be a TV show host, a talk show host. Maybe they want to do movies. Maybe they want to do radio. This is a way for them to come test those waters on a smaller scale, be involved with something, have some pride in their school and pride in the work that they're doing. And that turns over into, well, if I don't do my schoolwork, I can't be in this. Mm-hmm. If I'm not excelling, I can't be in this. We're going to be giving shout outs and recognizing students, staff, not just our staff, DPS staff, teachers and principals at other schools. This is a way for a student to say, hey, man, I got to do what I need to do because I want to be shouted out. I want to be on the screen and tell my story or talk a little bit. I want to be seen. It's a way for us to stay in contact with parents. They might not get the Connect Ed. They may not get an email. They might not get the letter that goes home with their child, but they can tap in and find out what's happening at Neal Middle School. And they can hear from the mouth of the people that run Neal Middle School, the teachers.
More like personal.
Yeah. They can find out current events. They got an open house next week. That's going to be on the podcast. This is a way for our kids who may not watch the evening news. They can find out something that's happening in the world because we're going to be having some current events and things. And we're going to talk about things that will be relative to them and things that will affect them. Had this been earlier, we talk about the presidential race and how they feel. Trump came in, he was talking about building a wall. We had kids that were distraught, thinking they were going to be getting sent away. We can talk about that. We can go through that. We can hear these kids' voice. We can let them express themselves and see what's happening. We're going to also put some stuff up here, put some vocabulary words, SAT words, give people a chance to win some prizes from time to time. So it's still going to be some academic pieces to it, but we want to build an entire child. Our kids are more than just reading, writing, and math. They got to get that. We understand that, but they need some emotional help. They need to be able to vent and be heard. Because what people forget is kids aren't nothing but little people.
That's it.
They got the same arms, legs, eyes, feelings, and emotions. They just don't know how to express it because they haven't been through what we've been through as far as age-wise. They haven't come through yet, and that's our job to try and guide them. They hurt, I had my wife passed. I had death. I feel some type of way. Somebody lost their mama. One of these students, they don't know how to express that. Or they're gonna lash out or do something. That's a human being. That's a little human being with the same emotions and feelings that I have. Mm-hmm. They just don't have an outlet to use it here or with a pen. They don't know how to do it. So that's upon us to try to help guide that and see it and understand. I was feeling the same way. That's an opportunity now. Any student that has a parent pass in my lane there at Neal, I got a connection. Hey, man, I definitely understand how you feel. I lost my father, grandmother, and such. I felt like I lost my grandmother when I was in 6th grade. I shut down. That's when all my bad grades and stuff started happening. I stopped eating. I lost mad weight. So I understand. Let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. If I can get that child in that space, hey, I also know what it's like to make F's too, bro. Mm-hmm. You don't have to stop that. You need to go this route. I've been there. So
basically help them fly.
Yeah, help them fly. We're protecting that nest again. So that was the vision of the podcast. I hope the kids get involved. I hope our entire staff has ideas and stuff. We're not gonna have people take over what has been created, but they can definitely lend a helping hand. We're not gonna shy away from that. Right. You got a topic, situation, something you think is important. Just drop it on these teachers and let them know, and they'll sift through and use what they need to use. You know, they'll tap in with me and talk to me about some things, and we'll keep moving forward. But this is you all's vehicle, man. I mean, you know, I'm Henry Ford. I made the Model T. I just don't drive it.
Yeah,
I don't drive it. Y'all drive the Model T. You know, y'all are driving it.
Yes, sir. Well, listen, man, we're gonna wrap it up right here, man. I appreciate you coming on to, share the vision of, Protect the Nest podcast. It's been an honor to do the first episode with you and let the people in on what's going on at Neal. If anybody want to email us right here across the bottom, you can email us at protectthenestpodcast@gmail.com. That's for teachers or whoever in the community that want to be a part. If you're doing something big, or former students who are authors, business owners, whatever, that went to Neal and was a part of Neal, feel free to email us. We'll definitely find fit for you to come on as well, to have conversations. So, Mr. Biz, all our administrators.
Before we leave, I want to do some shout outs, man.
What's up? What's up?
First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to all of our students. I know some of them are struggling to be on virtually, and it's not just us. It's every school in the district. It's every school in the state. It's every school in our country. Some kids are struggling and not doing what they're supposed to. But those that are showing up like they're supposed to, doing what they're supposed to do, give you a shout out, because it's not easy. And you're taking the steps to do what you need to do day in and day out. And trust me, that's going to pay off later on. You're building character. You're learning things about yourself. You're learning how to persevere. You're learning how to endure. You learn how to do something when you don't want to do it, don't feel like doing it. That's discipline. That's discipline. Shout out to all of our teachers showing up daily.
Yes, sir.
And teaching. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying y'all just showing up. Y'all showing up, you're on screen, you're teaching. We're in and out of classrooms. We see it. And I applaud all of y'all, because, like I said, the work that you do, they're not compensating you enough for what you do. And you do it every day regardless. Shout out to our counselors, because they in and out. And our social worker helping these kids, talking to these families. Shout out to the families. I'm giving a shout out to the families and the parents that are involved, checking in, trying to see what's going on with their kids. That's what you need to do. That's what we want. We want parents that are involved. We don't care if you got the means to get to us or not. Make a phone call. Call Neal. We'll make it happen, and we get you the information that you need. Shout out to my administrative staff. All of y'all. Everybody has their own special talents, and that's how you build a machine. Where one person is weak, I got a weakness here, you're strong there. I'm strong over here, you're weak there, and we come together just like what's my man, the Decepticons. and we make it happen, man. We make it happen. We give a special shout out to Coach Keenan, Coach Chris Keenan. He was a student of mine at Neal, and one of my football players, and he was also one of my football players at Southern High School. He went on to North Carolina Central University. He's making a big impact in the community. So y'all understand we got some special things and some special people at Neal Middle School. Coach Keenan is making a whole lot of moves and really, really lighting the city up for young people. And we got that in our building. So where his heart is, man, his big heart and the thing he's doing, hey, I can't say enough. We give a special shout out to Dr. B too. She's been a great mentor to all the administrators at our school, helping us out, doing wonderful things. And like I said, our past people, Fran, Matt Hickson, former teachers that were there with us, Miss Brianna Kennedy, Miss Rivens, Miss Sherry Hill. We've had some wonderful people come through those doors, man. Shout out to Mr. Lockhart. He went on to become a AP, so we've had some teachers to go on. Mr. Josh Brown, administrator. Hey, I can't name all of y'all, so charge it to my head and not my heart.
Yes, sir.
Right? So Neal Middle School, big ups to the school itself, man. Let's just keep doing what we do.
Yes, sir. Rise up, Eagles. Protect the nest.
Rise up, protect the nest. We are #we are Neal Middle. Hashtag we are DPS.
Yes, sir. Yes,
we are DPS, man. I wouldn't want to be in any other district, man. I love it here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So we'll catch you all on the next one. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Make sure y'all subscribe, and we out.
Bye.
Bye-bye.